Hello, everybody. I am having a hard time finding time to make content for YouTube. Just been real busy, and I lost my other car tripod, so even doing a video like this was kind of out of the question until I got this new one, which I don't like as much as the old one. Hopefully I find the old one. I do have content I want to make. I just can't invent time to be able to make the content. So I'll do my best when I can, where I can. And I wanted to jump in here. Misfits did a video about a week ago now, live. It was like 8 hours, so a short one for them. And they were asking each other the 3 greatest World Series moments that they had witnessed. And I don't think they meant in person, just had watched or had lived through or whatever. So, but I wanted to jump in. I wanted to play along. I'm not a misfit. I'm not a toy gun that squirts jelly or anything like that. But I wanted to play along a little bit. I thought it was a fun topic, and more people should be able to chime in. Number one's really easy for me, and I've often said this is the moment I became a baseball super fan or super nerd, as it were. And that's Game 6 of 86. Game 6 of 86 World Series. What a lot of people will call the Bill Buckner game. Extremely unfair that loss was put on him. I mean, the game was tied when he made the error. You know, given the momentum the Mets had, there was no way they were going to lose that game. You know, a lot of things like that. You know, Gedman and the pitcher Stanley deserve, as much blame for the wild pitch, on and on and on and on. But anyway, it's the Bill Buckner game. Like I said, not fair, but that's what it is. You all know what I'm talking about. Anyone over, 45, 50 like me knows what I'm talking about. And I think why it stuck with me so much, I mean, not only was it a great game, and, here the Red Sox were going to end this curse or whatever you believe. It was a moment for me that I shared with my brother, who was the only other sports fan, the only other baseball fan in the house. Everyone in my house watches Seahawks, but baseball was something Rick is really into. And I liked baseball at that time. I liked it. I knew who probably some of the bigger stars were. I knew who Wade Boggs was. I knew who Roger Clemens was when I was watching the game. But I didn't have that World Series or that game dialed up at all. And he did. And I was passing through the kitchen, and he pulled me in the living room and said, "You might want to watch this. The Red Sox are about to win the World Series for the first time in however many years it had been at the time. 68, or I don't even know. I'm not going to do the math. I'm driving. But I think we were might have been the 8th, the bottom of the 8th, or anyway. But I watched that game unfold, and I saw just how sort of dramatic and crazy and exciting the sport could be. And I had actually, convinced myself, hey, I want to see the Red Sox, win this. And so I was a little disappointed, I was like, whoa, this stinks, but they'll win tomorrow. And so we watched Game 7, and the rest is history. They didn't win. But from that, I'm like, hey, I want to start collecting baseball cards. I'm going to start watching baseball every day. And baseball's awesome. And I did, and I never looked back. And that's how Eddie, the baseball's, super annoying to most people, baseball guy, was born. And, you know, people at my, you know, that was right at the boom, right at the high pop era. And of course you could get cards in Ace Hardware and any corner store and, you know, anywhere. And so my classmates and I, we all started collecting, and I just reveled in being kind of like the most knowledgeable person, like, about the actual sport and about the players, because people could ask me, hey, is this guy any good? Yeah, he's, you know, whatever. Whoever, Andy Van Slyke, yeah, put him in your semi-stars or whatever. And I mean, the rest is history as far as just loving baseball. So, moment number 2, Joe Carter's Touch 'Em All. In the last probably 15 years, I started really liking the Phillies. When Jamie Moyer was traded from Seattle to Philadelphia, I started rooting for the Phillies as kind of my NL team. And they won a World Series immediately, and I celebrated. I thought it was great. I yelled, I jumped up and down. But that felt really cheap, having rooted for a horrible franchise for decades and decades. But I did enjoy it. It was great. But rewinding to the Joe Carter home run, I think I wanted to see Toronto win a World Series. And Ricky was on that team, and so I was rooting for Toronto, even though I can't stand them now, because I've gone to 2 Mariner games in the last 5 years that were against the Blue Jays, and to see the sea of blue and the Canadians come down, it's irritating. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But just to see, anyway, the walk-off was really cool at the time, and by now, Rick was a freshman at Wazoo, and I didn't have anybody to run around and celebrate and hoot and holler with, and I just sat there. And I remember I went and told my parents, I'm like, oh, the World Series ended on a home run, and it's only the second time ever. And the Blue Jays won for the first time ever. And they were putting together one of these, like, universal gyms, you know, you set up in your rec room, and you dust it every 6 months. They were like building one of those, and they were like, oh, that's great, Eddie, you know. By now they're used to just hearing things they didn't care about baseball, and just acknowledging me, sending me off. So they did a good job of that. And so off I went, and that was moment number 2. Moment number 3, and this one was quite easy, almost as easy as 86. Game 6 of 2011, which most people call the David Freese game, because he just took it over. But certainly was not rooting for Texas, because they're a division rival, and you get annoyed by somebody enough. And what the Cardinals had done that year to, at one point they were at or under 500 with something like 6 weeks ago, and put a run on to make the postseason, and I liked, a lot of the players and stuff. But just to see again, the Rangers were a strike away from winning that series, and Freese hit that ball to right field. And I love Nelson Cruz. He came to Seattle and played 4 years here, and was probably the best free agent signing the Mariners ever made. That wasn't an extension, it wasn't in-house. And I can't think of another one that compares. Those were 4 awesome years, and somehow they smartly let him go at the right time. And anyway, I love Nelson Cruz. I think he's awesome. But I will say, like, an average right fielder, or even a slightly above average right fielder, makes that catch, and the Rangers are world champions. But he didn't, and the Cardinals tied it up. And then I believe in the 10th, the Rangers were an out away again, and someone home, and I'm forgetting who. and then Rangers tied it up, whatever, and then the walk-off from Freese. I'm forgetting the details exactly. But I remember they were a strike away one time and an out away another time. And that's it. That's 3 World Series moments that will stay with me forever. And I have not watched a pitch of the first 2 games of this series because I think it's a dog crap of a World Series. I'm basically the opposite of the rest of the planet, saying, oh, the great matchup between the Titans and, you know, I don't know how they're squeaking by with their $300 million payrolls, but if there's any way for both of them to lose, I'd be on board with that. I'm really rooting for a giant meteor to hit, so there can't be a winner. But I decided after game 2, or after game 1, after the walk-off, that I want to see the Dodgers lose less than I want to see the other team lose. Stated differently, it'll bring me more joy to watch NYY lose than LAD. So I guess that means I'm rooting for LAD, but I can't imagine watching any of this thing. Maybe in a deciding game, you know, 8th inning, it's obvious who's going to win. I dial it up, maybe, but I think even that's unlikely. And I cannot say that a World Series has come and gone where I have not watched a single pitch. That tells you where I'm at right now and why I'm spending my time remembering great World Series of the past. So that's it for now. Wish me luck on getting more content out. I have lots of things I could make content on. Just gotta find the time and all that. I don't know. But for now, and until next time, remember, we don't count subscribers, we count friends.